I would say hi, but I've been at Expedia Group for now 12 years, and I've had a mix of different experiences. I ran the global car business for about half that time, and then switched into the global lodging business, running major partnerships and accounts, switched into an operational role and a strategic role. And now, more recently, I'm responsible for market research and competitive intelligence.
Okay, excellent. Well, purpose of this session is to talk a little bit about Expedia's group plans to become the platform that powers the industry. I think it's a big topic that you, I guess, presented at your most recent conference in Las Vegas. Mark talked about it on stage. Numerous leaders talked about it on stage. Explain to me why. Why do you want to do this? Why are you going there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think probably what's important in order to dissect the answer to that question is really understanding, well, what is a platform, first of all? And really a platform is any two-sided marketplace, and we try to think of ourselves as exactly that. The difference is that historically we've been a collection of brands, and those brands have run a two-sided travel marketplace. The difference, I think, going forward is that our strategy is shifting away from being a portfolio of brands that are designed to compete with each other to now a group view, or really a collaborative collection of brands that are built on a platform that is a marketplace where we can get synergies and values across the group. And the idea around platforms, and really there's major platforms that everybody's familiar with, Amazon, eBay, Google, of course, is that what's interesting is they become economies onto themselves. And I think what we realized is that we had all this scale at Expedia Group, but we had been isolating that scale at the brand level, and there was an opportunity to think about that scale and leverage that scale at a much higher place in order to create these economies of scale and also these economic activities that platforms enjoy in the Expedia Group platform.
But let's make this a bit more concrete. I mean, you've done package white labels, for instance, for years. You've offered these products as a standalone product, right, a solution, or even branded white label solution to hoteliers who wanted to use it. What's changing? What's like, why this move?
Well, for years we've been historically a B2C transactional marketplace, if you will. And I think the reality is there's so much more that we could offer, both in consumer and traveler services. That is sort of the concept around putting the A back in OTA and really thinking about how we can be that full service travel agent for our consumers. There's a lot of opportunity there, especially powered by revolutions in AI and machine learning. But you mentioned on the B2B side, and I think there's great opportunities for us to leverage our scale as well as our data and our assets in order to provide services on the B2B side. And this was an area that historically we haven't invested in, and we realized that we have a huge potential. White label is a fantastic example of that. Although there are probably services out there in the white label space, Expedia Group has this unique proposition because we've been doing it for 20 years, and we've been doing it as a marketer, selling to consumers, the package product as well as add-on products and bundle products. So we have learned a lot about what consumers buy, at what price points they buy at, and how they purchase. And we've also realized that we can leverage our supply, the vast amount of supply we've got. We've got 550 airlines. We've got 30,000 activities. We've got insurance products. We've got 895,000 lodging options, not counting our home away portfolio. So the combination of that gives us something incredibly unique to mainline hoteliers in the lodging space that are looking to add value to their own websites, thinking about how they can drive enhanced monetization and thinking about how they can market to their websites and improve their own efficiencies and then reinvest that marketing back into their brand and drive more volume through their websites. And that was unique to us because it meant that we really had to look at how we can power these websites that, historically speaking, we wanted these customers to come to our platform.
So what does that mean concretely? Does it mean that anything that you offer can be potentially opened up and be made accessible?
Yeah, That's what I mean by platforms become these economies unto themselves, in that you don't have to manage every aspect of the platform. The platforms start to spawn these cottage industries. And so the idea here is that you let the platform run itself and these opportunities will start to emerge. Obviously, we're seeding some of those things.
Are there any disciplines that you're focusing on right now that you say, hey, these are the 3 areas or the 6 areas or the 5 areas where we want to start, promoting, I guess, our platform services? Like, as a hotelier here sitting in the room, what are the things that they can concretely take away and say, these are the 2, 3 things that Expedia can do today, or at least tomorrow, whichever it is?
Yeah, when we're thinking about our investment in the space, we've identified 3 primary areas where we think we can add value, which is looking at how we can leverage our technology assets, our data assets, and our marketing assets, and bring that to life from a B2B perspective. We spend about $1.5 billion in technology and R&D investments, $2.9 billion in the last 2 years. We're constantly testing and learning. We've had, I think, in the last 2 years, 22,305 technology enhancements. So we're getting better every 24 minutes.
So let's stay on that technology. So technology, marketing, and data,
Yes.
right? Sort of.
Yeah.
So technology, what does that mean concretely? Does it mean a booking engine? Does it mean, I don't know, infrastructure, hosting, websites? What does it mean?
Primarily right now for our large branded partners, it means a packaged white label solution.
Okay.
But we are actively exploring, alternative options within that space in order to add value. So I think the possibilities are limitless. In terms of where we've seen revenue potential today, packaged white label has driven that. But there's nascent opportunity in other spaces for us. And we're actively working with partners probably in this room on some of those opportunities outside of just a white label option. And even when we think about the white label, it's been sort of classic car, hotel, air, but there are opportunities to think beyond that in terms of creating add-on modules, looking at insurance products and activity products. But when we think about the entire vertical stack, yes, I do think that there's an opportunity to test and learn outside of just the packaged white label space. Packaged white label was just the most obvious one for us. When we think about data, I think it's an opportunity for us to become a data service in some ways. In my opinion, that's most probably representative today from our Rev Plus solution, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it's our revenue management offering. And it has about 25,000 monthly active users on it today. And what we've seen is that the revenue uplift compared with our Rev Plus users versus non-Rev Plus users is 21% higher, which is phenomenal. When we started, it was around 7, and then it grew to 10, and now we're seeing phenomenal growth in the 21% range. So
now, Rev Plus is primarily oriented, if I'm not mistaken, to independent or individual properties and looking at data from a property set perspective. What's your plans to do it maybe on a group level? Because we have a lot of groups in this room, and they're, of course, interested in seeing this potentially on an aggregated level.
Yeah, so I think that's an opportunity that you're talking about right there in terms of thinking about how do property managers take advantage of some of this data.
Sure.
So grouping or clustering some of that is very important for us. Recently, we've looked at how do we be more valuable to ownership groups out there. And so we're thinking about giving account level access that allows for some consolidation to view your data at different levels. So we're not ignoring that group, but I think it will happen. But let me just clarify, Rev Plus is not only for small independents.
Okay.
I think anybody can use it within our ecosystem. There's a tremendous amount of value within the revenue management solution we offer, but in addition to Rev Plus within our Partner Central tools, we also offer access to things like guest insights, so you can actually learn about who your guests are, where they're coming from, who they're traveling with, what their patterns are, et cetera. So this is phenomenal when you think about the global scale of the company that we are managing and the places where people are traveling from. And then property analytics lets you look at your competitive data against your comp set and things of that nature. So we've got these added value data insights that help you way beyond just setting a room price. You can really start to understand your business, your hotel, in the context of the market that you're competing in, as well as your customers. We've got about 5.6 million real-time reviews. And that data in raw format isn't very useful, but we take that data, harness it, and create insights that bring value back to the hotelier. And what we've seen is that when hoteliers are able to actually action those insights, they have a 10% higher improvement in their guest review score. And guest review score absolutely drives conversion and ADR, but everybody knows that probably already.
Now, we also have a lot of technology providers, including myself in this room, that would want access to this data and, augment it with other sources. Any plans to making it accessible from an API perspective and, making it truly a platform that is open and accessible?
That's a very specific question.
Okay, sorry.
But I wouldn't rule out those opportunities. I do think we're looking at how we can share some data across different players within the ecosystem. And I think that's one of the key things when you think about Expedia Group. Our business from a platform perspective isn't to replace any players out there in the space already. It's actually to harness the value that different players in the ecosystem bring and bring them onto the platform and create additional value on the platform. And we do that with our data and scale. That doesn't mean necessarily that we're going to be sort of a one-stop solution for every offering out there. And I think what we realize is this is a very dynamic industry. There's a lot of offerings, a lot of services, and a lot of preferences within this industry. And so as we think about what does it mean to be a platform, it absolutely means incorporating the value that all players provide.
Okay. There's been competition in North America. We've just spoke with Airbnb. Booking.com is expanding rapidly. Is the air getting thinner for Expedia in North America?
I don't think so. I mean, first of all, I would say we love competition. I don't think actually Expedia would be around today if it wasn't for competitors like Booking.com. They've absolutely made us better at what we do. They've kept us on our toes and they've revolutionized the way that our company operates. That being said, I think Booking.com has demonstrated to us the success that acquisition plays in the marketplace, and that's become a very big strategic focus for us. Like I've said, we've got 895,000 lodging options within our main portfolio and 1.8 million properties on HomeAway. So this is not going to stop. We continue to look actively at acquisition as a driving engine for us and the key to unlocking and opening up markets across the globe. So I believe that when you look at the rate of or share of the marketplace that we have, there's a tremendous opportunity in Europe and APAC and LATAM for us. And we've obviously been on a string of acquisitions in North America, and I think we've got a product that we feel very proud about. I mean, I think we've got this one-stop full-service offering in North America. There's not a lot of players that can say that. We've got the scale to compete, and we have the opportunity to bring packaged solutions and bundled offerings to our customers.
Voice is a big topic today at this conference, or today and tomorrow. And you're doing some work with natural language search. You partnered early on with Amazon on the Alexa device. How much of your business is today going through voice at this point? Come on, seriously.
We just launched Google Assistant as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We saw it in the video.
Well, you can imagine it's very, very small. I mean, it would probably be non-existent, really. Voice is an important solution for us. We believe that there's value when we think about putting the A back in OTA, that agency support and being a full-service agent. We're exploring this option. There's a lot of cool things you can do with voice, but you really have to think about voice on a friction map. And we've just done a phenomenal job making it easy to book all travel products literally on your app. And we've got 250 million app downloads. 1 in 3 of our transactions happen on the mobile app. And when you think about our mobile, including mobile web, but when you think about how frictionless that environment is on a product that actually incorporates a great deal of risk, what we're seeing today is that I love
voice. Voice is risky, or
I think travel is risky.
Okay.
Travel is a risky product.
Okay.
You just don't know what you're going to expect, and I think that's the reason why the booking window requires, generally speaking, if you're a business traveler, you know exactly where you're going to go. There's not much risk. But if you're a leisure traveler and you're a family of 4 and you've got that one trip that you're going to take in a year and it's a significant piece of your budget, you're going to do a lot of research and you're going to go to a lot of different sites and you're going to study every option, right? And because there's a tremendous amount of risk associated with it, the friction has to be reduced. And what I think we've seen so far is that while I can tell Alexa to turn off my lights, and I feel pretty confident about that, I don't know if Alexa's bringing an added value yet to removing friction from the travel booking experience. At least, maybe it's not reducing as much friction as maybe a mobile app that we've perfected can do. I do believe that this technology is being harnessed to create something more. So there'll be some sort of combinations of technologies in the future, like AI and voice. And I think the iteration will look different. I believe that people will be interacting on maybe larger screens, and they'll have an opportunity to utilize voice. But I think that a lot of travel products require sort of a visualization, a data visualization. And it will require tremendous personalization, and we're not there yet.
Okay, so AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, voice, I guess voice, you're putting that down the list. But out of all sort of these new technology buzzwords, in short, and in your own personal view, what would you bet on at this point? Specifically impacting travel, of course.
Yeah, I've had some experience in this area. Actually, I just purchased a rug off Amazon using augmented reality.
Okay.
Used my mobile phone and checked out that rug right in my living room, and it was actually a pretty impressive experience, I have to say. I don't believe that augmented reality is going to change a lot for our industry right now. Will there be some in-trip killer apps that utilize augmented reality to create better experiences? Probably, I hope so, actually. But I'm not going to necessarily say that augmented reality is the solution to bet on. I think we're gonna, of course, make little bets everywhere. But it's an interesting one to watch. Voice as well, we have to perfect voice technology. Voice technology is getting even better, but really harnessing the value of voice is going to take things like artificial intelligence and personalization to make that really happen. So I would say we're in the early days right now of voice technology. So we want to be there, but I don't believe that it's going to be replacing transactions or bookings like mobile did 10 years ago.
And all of these technologies, ultimately, you want to make them available and accessible through your platform move. Is that fair?
Yeah, but I was going to sort of talk a little bit about virtual reality and AI. And virtual reality, I've actually had that experience of utilizing virtual reality in the Hawaii marketplace. We did a little test, and what we found was that consumers aren't taking to virtual reality. There's a lot of concerns when you think about commercializing virtual reality, and what we found is that there's a lot of nausea and dizziness that occurs with utilizing it. People are concerned about putting on a headset that other people have worn, and it takes away from that human interaction. We haven't seen yet this killer app in the virtual reality space. So again, what I would say is, I don't think people love to put things on their faces, and I would also say we're very focused on spending on virtual reality and testing and investing on it, but I'm a little bit of a skeptic when it comes to virtual reality revolutionizing our business, and that's been a shift for me. I was all in before, so that's been a learning experience from actually seeing that in a field test setting. But again, we'll see what the future brings as these technologies get better. And then to answer your question, the one that I would bet on is absolutely AI. I think the player that's going to win in this space is the one that's going to have the most scale, the most data, and the ability to utilize that data, which I believe is sort of the new oil, in order to create personalized experiences and drive improved conversion.
Hence the move to platform.
Hence the move to platform.
Excellent, excellent. I do want to do a few questions from the audience. Please keep posting, please keep voting, and please keep asking your questions away. So the first one is around third-party inventory and whether third-party inventory is part of that move of Expedia platform wanting to become the platform. Sorry, Expedia Group wanting to become the platform.
I believe third-party inventory has a very important role to play in our industry. So yes, I mean, that's something that we probably started earlier, and we realized that as we build our platform, that's an important piece of the puzzle for us.
Okay. Next one is interesting too. Is Expedia going to launch its own hotel brand?
No, I think this is an area where, we get questions about this from time to time, and there are partners out there, there are players out there that are dabbling in this space, and I think it'll be very interesting to watch them. I've heard Ctrip is looking at opportunities there, and they've got that Chinese customer really locked in, and so I think they have a phenomenal opportunity to play in that space. Can we really utilize our platform first and foremost to drive better experiences at the properties that our customers are going to? I think that's where our focus is going to be.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Last question, where we're running out of time here, but last question related to, Fliggy, Ctrip, but you could also expand it to other providers. In short, 60 seconds, if you will, what do you think Expedia will do different in this space as a platform and be successful? Like, what's going to make you different to be successful?
It really comes down to our test and learn culture. It's the amount of R&D that we spend, 22,000 employees, spending $1.5 billion a year on technology and R&D expenses. And when you think about the raw ingredients that a platform needs, we've got tremendous user base, 675 million monthly active users. We've got 70 million loyalty members. We spend $1.5 billion on loyalty redemptions alone, right? And so we've got all of this data and all of this sort of activity that's happening with suppliers and consumers on our sites that I believe will give us a lot of value when we think about how to create this ecosystem. And it's
so technology and investment plus data. Plus, is it fair to say that it's truly...
Well, the data is really the interactions that are happening every single day. It's the combinations of all the travel options we have that our suppliers are providing, plus the consumers that we're bringing to the store. We like to think of ourselves, I think, to answer your question in the most simple way as possible, we like to think of ourselves as a people logistics company.
Okay.
That's probably the major shift in thinking. And the idea around that is to be literally able to take any place, virtually any person from any place to any place in the world by nearly any means.
Okay. And this is a strategic decision, like Expedia Group as a whole is moving towards that, right? Okay.
That's
so
right.
This is not just a test and learn exercise. You're committed here.
It's not a random occurrence.
Okay. Excellent.
No, this is a strategic imperative.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ovi. Please join me in thanking Ovi on behalf of HEDNA for coming today.